stay out a little longer than everyone else. But take a look at this. Jimmy Vasser slid off the course just a few moments ago and stopped dead. So he's got a serious problem now with his championship.
Yeah, here he is in car. He comes down. Oh, he just lost it going in.
Ooh, some bad noises.
Yeah, I don't know if he hit a marker there or whatever. I wish that marshal wouldn't stand by the car, because somebody else could do the exact same thing in the same spot. That's a very quick section right there. You only come down, touch the brakes, and go into 5th gear.
Let me tell you, it's raining there. It's raining over on the front stretch too, isn't it, Gary?
Yes, indeed it is. Christian Fittipaldi, as you indicated, was into the pits. They stayed on the dry tires, the slick surface, no grooves. Michael Andretti, his teammate, just came in and also did the same. And it is raining much harder now on the front straightaway, and we're seeing rooster tails for the first time as they scream by us, Phil.
Now there's Christian Fittipaldi, who, as we had indicated for a while, picked up the lead, only fell to 6th place behind Emerson, his uncle. So the lineup now is Zanardi, Unser Jr., Robbie Gordon is up to 3rd, Gil de Ferran is 4th. And as the rain falls here, it is really creating havoc with the different decisions being made by these teams. Jack?
Well, Paul, this is a typical Penske move. I had talked to Richard Buck and I said, how tough was it making the decision to go to slicks or rains? He says, Jack, believe it or not, we talked that scenario out and said, if we got the reports and believed the reports we had early in the morning that rain would continue, we were prepared and felt that by our first stop we were going to have to go to rain. So when it began to sprinkle, we made the commitment for both Fittipaldi, Emerson Fittipaldi, and Al Jr. And look how well they're doing now on the rains.
Al Unser Jr. runs in 2nd, is just able to carve up the rest of the field. Oh no, Scott Pruitt, our other starter in the front row. Zanardi is the pole sitter. He leads it, but Pruitt has had just a horrible weekend here. He was on the pole until almost the end of the qualifying session yesterday, and then this morning's warm-up. He had a problem that qualifying, blew an engine, so he wasn't able to finish the session. Saw his pole taken away by Zanardi, and then he got into the wall this morning, and now he sits by the edge of the course. Gary?
A front wing has been replaced for Jimmy Vasser after he got a tow to get restarted. It's just pulled in here. They're fastening down the remaining bolts on the nose. They do a very quick job on this, but there was damage to that other wing. Now, coming off the jacks, and Vasser will head back out.
Well, as we watch the leader, Alex Zanardi, those slick tires are apparently going to cost him dearly. Al Unser Jr. in 2nd made up 6 seconds on the last lap and started the lap only 8 seconds behind, but the sun just came out on the front stretch.
Well, there you see Al Jr. in the red and white car on the left of your screen, just coming in behind Zanardi. But the interesting thing is Vasser had the off. He still stayed on slick tires, so they still are assuming that it's going to drive pretty fast. You can see it already starting to drive on the concrete, and concrete, of course, drives faster than the asphalt, and you see how the tires weren't as slick anymore, so maybe their gamble's going to play off. We're going to have to see it play out.
Al Unser Jr. moves in a battle for the lead. 2 different styles of tire. Unser Jr. on Rains. The slicks are on Zanardi's car. That's P.J. Jones in the Dan Gurney Eagle just behind them. Not part of the fight, but he's been able to keep up with it. And Al Unser Jr., as they get over to a section that appears to be relatively dry, couldn't for a part there keep pace with Zanardi, but can he here? Remember, this is where he made the pass on Vasser earlier, and it is wetter in this area. But nope.
Boy, he's all over him, though. He is all over him. He's looking for a spot. And see right here, he's going to just come on underneath him. See Zanardi's car dart there. He was trying to get some traction, put a little throttle down. Those slick tires just jump by.
Quite a bit of water line on the course down at the end of the front straightaway here. Jack Arute?
Well, Paul, let's update you. You might wonder why. Maybe is there a problem with the lack of good faith on the Firestone rain tires after we saw their performance in Detroit. You mentioned Firestone brought a brand new tire here, but they don't have a lot of testing. They had some additional testing at Detroit, the input from the rain there. But according to most of the Firestone teams I've spoken to, they said, no, it's not a question of that. We feel much like Danny Sullivan said, if we can keep the heat in the slicks, this is just a passing rain shower, and we'll be to the better once the track dries off.
Well, Al Unser Jr. now has a drying circuit under him as he sits on those rain tires. And Zanardi, while having fallen behind, is now kind of waiting station on Al Unser Jr. as they work through traffic. It would seem to me that logic for Zanardi would be to just let the course dry out a little bit and then go on the attack.
Well, he's not losing that much touch to him, but we saw him dive into the chicane that time. He locked up trying to get back under Al Jr. Of course, I think that's because it's a drier spot. There he is. He's still right behind him. He's not losing touch with him. So, as I said, I think we'll have to see this scenario play out and see what happens with the track.
And now Zanardi makes his move in a section that has dried, and he gets past Little Al.
Great racing there.
I'll tell you what, his teammate lies just ahead of him. Jimmy Vasser is now 2 cars ahead. That's Lawson that they move around now. And again, here is where the rain tire is hurting Al Unser Jr. It's dry down in this section. So Zanardi comes back to the lead and takes advantage of his dry tires on the dry half of the circuit. Oh, is this terrific? Back and forth, and it's got to be driving the tacticians in the pits absolutely crazy to try to figure out what tire you should be on, Jack Root.
Well, we're watching as Scott Pruitt's team goes and takes on slicks once again. But there you can see the way he lights those tires up. We're going to check into this and try and find out why he had to come back in.
So Scott Pruitt comes in out on slicks. Apparently everybody now thinks that the track is going to dry. I don't know what they're using. That Al Unser Jr. trying to cool him, isn't he?
That's right. He dove down there where it was wet. You saw the spray come up. He's trying to cool the tires down. He wants to keep them cool. They get too hot. Wets go off. He'll lose grip.
I was about to say, I'm not really sure why they are making the judgment. Al Unser Jr. is obviously trying to stay on these wet tires, and there are still a lot of dark clouds hanging around the track. But for the moment, at least, it's Alex Zanardi back at the head of the field.
Goodyear AquaTread revolutionized wet traction design. Now Goodyear introduces the first tire with a lifetime tread life warranty. The new all-season Infinitread. Its tread is guaranteed for as long as you own your car. Call 1-800-GOODYEAR.
Right now, get a $40 introductory manufacturer's rebate from Goodyear when you buy 4 Infinitread radials, Goodyear's longest-wearing passenger tire. That's $40 on 4 Goodyear Infinitread. But hurry, this Goodyear offer ends soon.
People are selling tools today on the market that I don't even think they know where they're made, and they're not a quality tool. One thing about the Craftsman tool, it's made here, and you know the quality's good.
1,600 Craftsman hand tools, made in America, guaranteed forever.
If something happens to it, you can take it back, and you know where to take it back because you know where it come from.
Only at Sears.
Experience the excitement of your favorite Olympic events, now in commemorative cans of Bud, Bud Light, and Bud Ice. Better yet, if you get one of these special gold cans, you could see the games live in Atlanta. Look for Grab the Gold details wherever you see Bud Family Olympic packages. Just another part of the Bud World Party.
On the battleground called motorsports, no one can claim success like Ford. Because no one races and wins in more places than Ford. But have you seen what we're doing with all the winnings?
So Al Unser Jr. suddenly comes into the pits, Jackaroo.
And they run the gamble, but it didn't come out to their liking. Al Unser Jr. had to come in, take the rain tires off, and go back to the slicks. This was costly. They gambled. Richard Buck and the rest of the team, along with Roger Penske, made the call. But they had to go back to the slick because this track's drying up.
Al Unser Jr. was not the only one to head into the pits. P.J. Jones was in, Emerson Fittipaldi was in, Robbie Gordon was in, all going over to the dry tires as we look at Gil de Ferran, who currently runs second behind Zanardi. And by my count, I don't think there's anyone else left on dry tires, on wet tires, and certainly none of the front runners. They have all come back to slick racing tires, and it is dry for the moment in most parts of the course, though not necessarily offline.
Now, they've got a pretty dry track here. You don't want to run wide. You can see there's kind of a line through there. We're on board with Bobby Rahal, who, by the way, started 18th and is now up to 4th place. So he just kept steady through all that stuff and didn't go off, didn't slide off, and he's gained a lot of spots.
The old professor is a great tactician. In fact, that's what he studies as a hobby. He enjoys studying the tactics, especially of the Vietnam War.
And look at that sky now. I don't see any black clouds there.
Whoa! Car way off. That's P.J. Jones.
Although it's hard to tell.
Yeah, he's deep in the tire barrier. But you certainly, well, you can see kind of the number, the 98 on the car. And his head moving around, which gives you to believe everything's fine. In fact, you almost take it for granted that when they get into the barrier like that, they're still going to be fine. Here it was, Emerson Fittipaldi.
See, just got off that line. See, the line was, whoa, see how he accelerates in that grass? But what happens is the line, he just went a little wide, and it's just damp there, and he got on there, got the car sideways. That's all she wrote.
So P.J. Jones ends his day up in the tire barrier. There is Christian Fittipaldi, who is now challenging for second place. Gil de Ferran just ahead of him. Second. Zanardi is the leader. Michael Andretti still trying to move up. He is now 13th. Remember, he had a problem earlier, the teammate to this car, Christian Fittipaldi. And the officials of the race have taken a good look at the position that P.J. Jones's car is in, and they're going to use a crane to get him out of there, so they won't need to go to a full course yellow. We continue to have a green racetrack.
Well, they're going to use a crane to get the car out, not P.J.
Now, P.J., not exactly like you said.
Yeah. He's a pretty stout guy, but he's not that big.
Well, for me, they might need the crane. Into the festival curves alongside Eliseo Salazar, who now splits the battle. Gary Gerald, do you have an update on P.J.?
Just checking with John Ward and the crew to see if they had talked with him. They said yes, indeed they had, and they speculated just as Danny thought that maybe just got offline, caught a patch of wet there, and that he lost all traction and took that ride into the tires. But P.J. obviously fine in talking to the crew, though disappointed.
You know, one of the things, Paul, that I'm the most impressed with, they got these new tire walls here that they kind of interlace the tires and wrap them different. And I'm telling you, those things really seem to work, because that car doesn't seem badly damaged. He didn't hit it, and that was a fast accident right there, and it seems okay.
Jimmy Vasser, as you saw him drop to the inside of Matsushita and continue on. Jimmy Vasser is still trying to stay in a points position, but he's not anywhere near that now. He runs 21st on the circuit. His teammate Alex Zanardi is the leader. De Ferran in second. Christian Fittipaldi is third, followed by Rahal and then Andre Ribeiro. 47 laps are complete. Vasser totally out of a point scoring position. He got in similar trouble 2 weeks ago on Belle Isle in Detroit. Finally was able to move up to 12th and pick up a single point for that. But this is going to have a definite impact on his march to the championship. Alex Zanardi leads Gil de Ferran, then Christian. We'll be back after these messages and a word from our ABC station.
When cars raced at an awesome 5 miles per hour, Mobil Oil was there. When a race car broke 100, Mobil was in it. Mobil was in the winner of the first race across America. And since then, Mobil has been in more Indy 500 winners than any other oil in the history of Indy. So if you think that all oils are alike, think about something. At Mobil, we've been changing oil for over 125 years.